Hey guys, and welcome back to What If Soul. I'm your host, Broken Soul, and it's time for a new episode of What If Ash Could Start Over. But before we get started, guys, please hit that like button, comment, subscribe. It means so much to me and helps me out so much, guys. But let's get to the recap. When we last left off, Ash had met up with his old friend and rival, Gary, before challenging the Vermilion City Pokemon Gym, where, after a hard-fought battle, Ash was able to re-earn his Thunder Badge from Lieutenant Surge. After the battle, Gary had actually invited Ash, Misty, and Brock to a grand opening for a research lab for Professor Cerise, where Ash had actually ran into another old friend and rival, his good pal, Ritchie. So, as you can see, guys, a lot's been happening so far. But what's going to happen over at the research lab now that the new timeline has been set up? Let's find out right now. At Professor Cerise's research lab, Ash, Misty, and Brock are actually very surprised and happy to see Ritchie. Ash, with a big grin on his face, tells Ritchie, "Ritchie, it's good to see you again. How have you been?" Ritchie in response going, "Ash, Misty, Brock. And is that Gary? Man, how long has it been? Are you all traveling together again?" Gary actually going, "I'm not necessarily traveling with these guys, but I did run into Ash yesterday. In fact, I'm the one who actually invited them here to the research lab opening. Speaking of which, what are you doing here?" Ritchie then explaining, "Oh yeah, I actually came here because I wanted to talk to Professor Cerise and see if he needed another research assistant." Ash in surprise going, "Wait, you want to become a researcher?" Ritchie explaining, "Kind of. I've always loved learning more and more about new Pokemon, but at the same time, I just can't stop loving battling. So what I'm going to do is, to be a better trainer, I actually want to be a research assistant. I figure if I can broaden my horizons and learn more about Pokemon the best I can, I could be a much better trainer to the Pokemon I have currently." Brock, walking up to Ritchie, nods his head going, "Spoken like a true master. Being able to learn more about Pokemon helps you not just as a trainer, but as a friend to your team." Ritchie actually asking, "So what are you guys doing here?" That's where Ash explains to Ritchie his situation about re-challenging the Kanto League, retracing his steps, and redoing all the different badges. Even going into detail about the battle he had against Lieutenant Surge the night before. Ritchie in surprise going, "Wow, you caught that many different Pokemon? And I would have loved to have seen a Torterra versus Electivire fight." Misty actually surprised going, "Wait, you haven't heard about Ash re-challenging the league?" Ritchie then going, "I've been doing a lot of traveling, so I haven't had the chance to watch the battles. But I have been hearing a rumor around the Pokemon Center saying that a high caliber trainer who's from the Kanto League is re-challenging the Kanto League. I guess that's you, Ash." Ash is surprised going, "Wow, there's rumors about me?" That's when Ritchie actually gets a little more serious saying, "Yeah, there are. There's also another rumor saying that." But before Ritchie has a chance to say any more, Professor Cerise actually makes himself known, going, "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Professor Cerise Research Lab grand opening." Professor Cerise is actually making the same speech he did in canon, but again, because this is no longer in the same timeline, or it's not happening at the exact same time as the original story did, the grand opening goes off without a hitch. Professor Cerise giving off a heartfelt speech, showing off the lab, introducing his assistants, Krissa and Ren, and of course Professor Sorok even giving his own little speech to kind of christen the new research lab. Once the grand opening is over, and the rest of the crowd disperses, Ash and the gang are sticking around for a while to talk to Professor Oak and Professor Cerise. Professor Oak going, "Ash, Misty, Brock, Gary, it's good to see you all again, and is that Ritchie? How long has it been, son?" Ritchie then holding out a hand going, "Professor Oak, it's good to see you again." Professor Oak taking his hand going, "The pleasure is all mine, son. I've been hearing a lot of good things about you lately." Ritchie then going, "Thank you so much, Professor." Professor Oak then turns over to Gary talking to his grandson about what he's been up to lately. While the grandfather-grandson duo are talking, Professor Cerise actually walks up to Ash going, "So you must be the world-famous Ash. Professor Oak has told me so much about you, lad, and you must be Brock and Misty." Ash, Misty, and Brock bowing their heads going, "It's so nice to meet you." Before Ash has the chance to ask any questions of Professor Cerise, Brock, yes, I'm doing it, Brock spots Krissa, and he does his thing. "Oh, Brock." That's when Misty grabs his ear and reining him back in. Side note, did anyone else just fall in love with Krissa during the Journeys series? Because seriously, she was so hilarious to me. The Psyduck episode, the food eating competition episode, like just any appearance she's in, I love just seeing her on screen. She made me laugh so hard. But anyway, back to the story. Professor Cerise actually says, "Yes, I see you've met my assistant. This is Krissa and Ren. They're my assistants. They're helping me out with my research here." Krissa and Ren both bow their heads going, "It's nice to meet you both," before going back to their own jobs. Misty actually saying, "Ooh, Professor Cerise, do you do any research on water Pokemon?" Professor then explains, "Sorry, we really don't focus on any one subject when it comes to our research here." Misty then going, Aw man, well I was kinda hoping I could get some extra help on my Psyduck. Hearing the Psyduck, Krissa basically just teleports right in front of Missy saying, "You have a Psyduck? Let me see it, let me see it, let me see it." The two girls just gush over her how adorable Missy's little Psyduck is. Psyduck loving it, Brock just hating Psyduck right now. Ash then looking over to Professor Cerise saying, "Oh, Professor Cerise, before I forget, my friend Gary says that you had a research assistant that reminded him of me for some reason?" Gary then walking up next to Ash saying, "Yeah, that kid, what's his name? Grow? Professor Cerise snapping his fingers going, "Oh, you mean Go." Gary then going, "Yeah, Go, that's it." Well, Ash, unfortunately, Go's not here right now. He's helping me do some research on different Pokemon in the different environments currently. He's actually in the Hoenn region right now over at Mount Chimney. He's doing some research on the different effects that the weather and the conditions over there have on certain Pokemon. Ash then going, "Dang, I was hoping I could actually meet him." Professor Cerise actually laughing going, "Oh, don't worry, he'll be popping up all over the place, so I'm sure at some point you'll get to see him." Ash and smiling going, "Well, I can't wait for that." Before anything else is said, suddenly all the lights just turn off in the research lab. Misty, Krissa, and even Richie are kind of freaking out a little bit going, "What's going on?" That's when Professor Cerise goes, "What the heck?" Ren actually perking up going, Professor, I think it's happening again." Professor going, "Ren, I told you, it's nothing." Ashton going, "What's nothing, Professor?" Ren believes that there's some kind of ghost or some kind of apparition here, but I don't believe in ghosts, and even if they did, they really haven't been bothering me too much in the past couple of weeks. Ash getting a little excited going, "Ghosts?" Missy and Brock going, "Not again." Ash actually turning to everyone saying, "Guys, can we stay here a while? I at least want to get a chance to look at the ghosts." Professor Cerise going, "Actually, it's no bother to me. We actually have plenty of rooms. Don't forget, this used to be a mansion." Everybody except Professor Oak agrees. Professor Oak going, "I'd love to stay myself, but I had to get back to Palatown to continue my own research." Professor Cerise then shaking his hand going, "I understand, Professor. Thank you for stopping by." Before Professor Oak takes off. Once he's gone, they get a big old tour of the house, they get a tour of the backyard, and that gigantic dome where all the Pokemon can run free. Ash actually releasing all of his Pokemon, Misty and Brock doing the exact same thing. In case y'all are wondering, here's everyone's lineups. Brock still has only his Steelix, Misty has only her Gyarados and her Psyduck, which Krissa will not let go of, and Ash has his Pikachu, his Riolu, whom he reactivated his Pokeball so he can still be with him, and his Dratini. Everyone else he sent back home to Professor Oak's research lab with Tracy. Everyone's just hanging out at the research center. Brock is actually speaking with Ren, who he actually took a shine to, getting more information about what they're working on in the research lab. Professor Cerise is actually sitting down and talking with Gary and Richie. Gary to kind of see what's going on in Professor Rowan's field of research, whereas Richie because he wanted to ask if he could be a research assistant for Professor Cerise, alongside Go to help him out with his research. Misty and Krissa are basically just gushing over all the different water type Pokemon they have. Krissa explaining to Misty about how much she loves Psyduck and why she loves Psyduck, and Ash is actually working with both Dratini and Riolu in order to get them to both come out of their shell and become strong so that they can start working on their badges together. Later that evening, as everyone's about to go to bed, Pikachu is actually woken up by hearing creaking, doors opening and closing, and a slight laughter that just leaves him uneasy. This actually perks Pikachu up, getting into a defensive stance, waking up Ash going, "Pikachu, what's going on?" That's electricity sparks from Pikachu's cheeks, the moonlight right behind it illuminating the doorway, seeing that a shadow is slowly rising from the depths. Ash is actually getting freaked out going, "What is that?" waking up everybody else in the room. Misty, Brock, Richie, and Gary are all looking over at the doorway, seeing the shadow rise up, everyone getting all freaked out. Pikachu is again still in its stance. Ash going for his Pokeballs, but he realized, wait, everybody's outside in the dome. Even Gary and Richie forgot that they left all their Pokemon outside too. That's when the shadow finally reveals itself being Gengar. That's right guys, Gengar's in the picture now. Ash actually getting scared going, wait, a Gengar? What's it doing here? Pikachu, Thunderbolt, quick! Pikachu launching out a Thunderbolt straight for Gengar. Gengar actually goes back into the shadow dodging, scurrying away, leaving everybody just to wonder why is a Gengar there? The next morning, everyone's actually looking a little bit groggy from the rough night of sleep. Professor Cerise is actually looking at everyone and going, what happened to all of you? Everyone trying to explain, again, kind of groggily that a Gengar just popped up. Professor Cerise looking at Ren going, okay Ren, I owe you 5 Poké-Dollars. You're right, this place is haunted. Professor Cerise is actually wondering, why would a Gengar be here at the research lab? I know that they like abandoned places, but this place hasn't been abandoned for weeks though. We've all moved in and we've all been doing our own thing. and it hasn't even bothered us that much. That's when Ash goes, well, if it's not bothering you guys that much, should we even keep interfering with it? But right when Ash said that, that's when Gengar again starts to mess with them, throwing things like pillows or furniture around the room, just trying to scare them out of the mansion. Ash getting actually a little bit annoyed, going, okay, that tears it. Pikachu, be on guard, it could be anywhere. Pikachu nodding, going, alright then, before getting on all fours, sparking with electricity, getting ready to battle Gengar. Gary then going, watch out Ash, Wild Gengar are insanely wily, you have no idea what they could do or where they can come from. Richie confirming that, going, plus it's a ghost and poison type, so it's insanely tricky to deal with. The two researchers say, as the room is being filled with just floating furniture everywhere. Ash actually noticing that each of the pieces of furniture that are floating around have a slight little purple aura around them. Ash then calling out, Pikachu, use Thunderbolt. Hit every single one of the pieces of furniture that have a glowing aura around them. Pikachu using Thunderbolt hits every single one. This actually hurts Gengar a little bit, stunning it for a second, coming out of the shadows, revealing itself. Ash then going, there you are. Now, Pikachu, quick, use Quick Attack. Misty and Brock going, that's not gonna work on it. Ash going, I know. Pikachu passing right through Gengar. Ash then going at the last second, now, use Iron Tail. Pikachu whipping around real quick, using Iron Tail, hitting Gengar right on the back of the head? Back? Hitting Gengar in the back, having it skid forward. Gengar did not like that. Turning around, launching Shadow Ball after Shadow Ball right at Pikachu. Pikachu trying to dodge as best it can, but eventually, one of the Shadow Balls just hits Pikachu right in the dead center, knocking it down, hitting a wall on the side. Everyone's freaking out. Ash actually telling Misty, Gary, and Richie that they have to get outside. We have to get to our other Pokemon. They all nod in agreement as they're all running outside. Richie actually says, oh wait a minute, you guys go ahead. I'll stay behind and help Ash out. Pulling out a Pokeball, he screams, let's go, Sparky! Richie's little Pikachu comes onto the battlefield. I miss Sparky, he was cool. Richie then calling out, now, Sparky, Volt Tackle, quick! Sparky running at incredible speeds, surrounded by the Volt Tackle, makes its way, hitting Gengar square in the face, knocking Gengar back. Gengar actually retreating back into the shadows one more time, trying to get away. That's when Ash tells Pikachu, Pikachu, you okay? Pikachu getting up, a little dazed, but it's perfectly fine. Looking over to Sparky, Pikachu high-fives Sparky. Pikachu hasn't seen Sparky in a long time, but the two of them are happy to be battling with each other again. Both Ash and Richie are actually chasing down Gengar's shadow, going, Pikachu, Sparky, track that shadow, quickly! Both Pikachus are running at incredible speeds trying to track down that Gengar. Ash and Richie right until behind them. Professor Cerise is actually behind the two other trainers going, be careful, don't destroy the mansion! As he's trying to make sure that his research lab isn't destroyed. Back outside, Misty, Brock, and Gary are returning all their Pokemon. They're about to make their way back inside when they realize that the door is locked. Gengar must have locked them out. That's when Gary turns to Brock going, Brock, quick, release your Steelix. Let's see if we can get us up to those windows over there. Brock releasing his Steelix going, that's a good idea. Meanwhile, back inside, the shadow making its way all over the house, turning left, right, going from corridor, hallway, bedrooms, wherever it can. Ash and Richie were right behind it. At one point, Ash and Richie are actually able to corner Gengar into the attic, where Gengar makes its last stand. Ash is telling Gengar, Gengar, why are you being so mean? That's when Gengar actually has a flashback. And yeah, guys, it's gonna be the exact same backstory. Gengar being abandoned for a whole year in the mansion by that jerk of a trainer, all that different stuff. It's gonna be a big old thing. This actually makes Gengar really mad. Not even thinking, it just launches a sludge bomb in front of everybody, almost hitting Ash and Richie. However, Pikachu and Sparky were not so lucky. They got hit directly, getting poisoned badly. This actually shocks Gengar. It really didn't want to hurt them, it just wanted them to go away. Retreating back into the shadow, Gengar finds a little corner where it can hide, still being able to listen to everything that's going on. Ash picking up Pikachu and Richie picking up Sparky. The two of them are super worried. Both Pikachu are not in the best of shape. Turning to Professor Cerise, they ask, do you have any antidotes or any kind of medicine we can give them? Professor Cerise shaking his head going, we haven't had the chance to supply yet. Richie then going, we gotta get to a Pokemon Center, Ash, quickly. Ash then nodding going, yeah, let's go. The two boys running out of the research center, making their way toward the Pokemon Center. By the time Misty, Gary, and Brock can make their way back inside, Professor Cerise informs them about what happened. This worrying the group of trainers, they all make their way to the Pokemon Center as well, following behind Ash, not knowing that inside of Brock's shadow, Gengar has actually been hitchhiking for a second. Back in town, Ash and Richie are running as quick as they can, making their way into the Pokemon Center, telling Nurse Joy, our Pokemon were poisoned badly. Nurse Joy grabbing both Pokemon, saying, don't worry, I'll help them as best I can. Quick, I need a stretcher, calling out to Chansey. Chansey bringing out a stretcher, and the two Pokemon going to be treated. Richie then going, I hope Sparky's gonna be okay. Ash then looking over to Richie going, They'll be fine. They're with Nurse Joy now. Everything's gonna be okay. Richie getting a little mad going, why'd that Gengar have to do that? Why has he been trying to torture us this whole time? Ashton going, I'm not sure, but did you see how it looked after Pikachu and Sparky got hit? Richie going, no, what do you mean? Ash continuing on saying, it looked like it was surprised, like it was almost sorry that it did what it did. That's when Ash and Richie sit down for a few minutes talking, wondering what it is exactly that makes Gengar is feeling so bad as the way it does. As they're talking, somebody overhears them going, you guys talking about a Gengar? Ash and Richie going, yeah, why? That's when the guy gets this almost disgusted look on his face, going, Gengar are nothing but trouble, man. They're just not worth it. That's why I left mine over at some abandoned mansion. Told him I'd be right back, but that was almost a year ago. Him just laughing. This getting Ash and Richie mad as they put two and two together, standing up going, you used to be Gengar's trainer? As the two of them say that, the rest of their friends make their way into the Pokemon Center. Gengar actually hears the guy saying, yeah, so what? Gengar wasn't anything special. That thing was basically a curse and make me lose battle after battle. I'm glad I left it where I left it. Now it can be someone else's problem. Gengar actually heard this coming out of Brock's shadow. This getting Brock down to his core, wondering how long was Gengar in there? Gengar actually appearing before the trainer freaking out himself going, Gengar, listen man, I was gonna come back for you. Just something happened, something came up. Gengar just not hearing it, getting closer and closer to the trainer, getting so mad. Ash actually stepping in front of the trainer going, Gengar, he doesn't know what he's talking about. You're an awesome Pokemon. You're insanely strong. Listen, he didn't deserve to have a Pokemon like you. I can tell you're strong. I can tell you have what it takes to be a champion level Pokemon. Don't be like him. Move past this. Be something better. Come with me on my journey. Gengar actually getting surprised at Ash's suggestion, but that surprise goes away quickly as Gengar looks back at his old trainer. Moving forward, Gengar, don't do it. But Gengar actually forms a Shadow Ball in his hand, looking at Ash for a couple seconds. Ash looking into his eyes. That's when Ash just takes a few steps to the left, letting Gengar approach his other trainer. The other trainer actually going, what are you crazy? That monster's gonna kill me. Gengar actually getting closer and closer. He launches the Shadow Ball. Richie getting ready to jump in front of the trainer himself to take the blast, but Ash holds his arm out to Richie saying, watch. The Shadow Ball actually blasts right past the trainer's head and hits the floor right behind him, leaving a small burn mark. Someone's got to clean that up later. The trainer actually freaks out a little bit, actually starts crying as it runs out of the Pokemon Center saying, whatever, you're a monster. Everyone actually pries going, wait, what happened? That's when Ash steps back in front of Gengar going, Gengar, it's okay. Gengar actually looking down as if it's saying it's sorry to both Ash and Richie. But Ash just smiles going, don't worry Gengar. Nurse Joy says that Pikachu and Sparky will be just fine. If you want, you can stay here with us while Nurse Joy works on them. Gengar actually nodding at that. All the trainers and Gengar are sitting around the Pokemon Center where, after like an hour of work, Nurse Joy comes out with Pikachu and Sparky. Both Pikachu just jump into their trainers' arms, hugging them. That's when Gengar comes up and actually nods to Pikachu and Rich and Sparky, saying it's sorry to the two of them. Pikachu and Sparky look at each other, look back at Gengar, and then just smile going, it's perfectly fine. This actually makes Gengar a little happy. The three of them actually begin to play with each other for a minute. That's when everyone turns to Ash. Richie actually saying, Ash, did you actually mean it? Did you really want for Gengar to go with you? This stopping Gengar from playing, turning to Ash, listening. Ash then saying, yeah, of course. Gengar's a pretty cool Pokemon and I would love to have it on my team, but only if Gengar wants that. Gengar not saying a thing. Actually, Gengar almost looks ashamed at itself because the way it hurt Pikachu and Sparky. Actually retreating back into the shadows, leaving the Pokemon Center. Later that evening, back at the research lab, Ash and everyone are actually just sitting around the living room talking, where Ash actually talks to Richie about, Richie, hey, so I know you said you wanted to be a research assistant here, but why not before you become one, why not you try and re-challenge the Kanto League like how me and Gary are doing? This leaves Richie stunned going, I mean, I never really thought about re-challenging Kanto. I was actually going to make my way over to Unova next. But that's when Ash goes, hang on, before you go to Unova, stay back here in the Kanto region. Me and Gary are going to retrace our steps. And not just us, there are several other of my old friends I ran into on my journey that are all going to re-challenge the Kanto League. So why don't you be one too? Besides, I'm pretty sure you'd want a proper match from last time. That's when everyone starts to giggle a little bit at Ash's misfortune. Ash not really paying too much mind to it. This leaves Richie for a second to wonder, well, Honestly, I would really love to battle again. Plus, I feel like with the new knowledge experience I have, and with some of the new Pokemon I've captured too, maybe, you know what? I think I will. In fact, I'll start by re-challenging the Vermilion City Gym in the morning. What are you guys gonna do? Ash wondering to himself, well, if memory serves me right, I think Saffron City is our next best bet. That's when Brock and Misty kind of shudder a little bit going, Saffron City, Sabrina, not again. Don't worry guys, we'll be fine. Besides, we can see Haunter again. Richie going, Haunter? That's when Ash explains what happened with Sabrina the last time they went to Saffron City. Richie then going, well, that's not how I earned my badge. How'd you earn yours? Richie getting a mischievous smile going, you want me to show you? Bringing out a Pokeball. Ash getting that same smile going, bring it on. The two boys run to the training field in the back of the Pokemon Center. Misty, Brock, and Gary all smiling going, hey, those two are the exact same thing. That's when Brock looks over to Gary going, so Gary, what are you planning to do right now? Gary actually going, well, I'm going to stick around at least to watch the battle between Ash and Richie. But I think I'm going to stick around with Professor Cerise for a while and learn what I can before I make my next move. Misty then smiling going, well, good luck to you Gary, we hope all the best for you. Gary then going, thanks Misty. That's when Brock stands up going, alright then, come on, let's head outside before Ash and Richie exhaust themselves too much. The three friends all laughing as they make their way to the back of the Pokemon Center to watch their friends battle. And that's where we're going to leave it off for now guys. Now, I know this was a bit of a different episode, but I wanted to get a bunch of stuff established. First off, Ash finally got to meet Professor Cerise and Gengar. He got to meet up with Richie, whom is now going to re-challenge the Kanto League along with him and Gary. And finally, Ash now knows he's going to go back to Saffron City to re-challenge Sabrina for the Marsh badge. And in case y'all are wondering, I double checked everything. Yeah, he went to go challenge Sabrina for the 4th badge, not Erica. So just blame the original show writers. But tell me what you guys think. Will Ash have a better chance of taking Sabrina down with his new experiences? What's going to happen with Gengar in that story? And more importantly, how much stronger has Richie gotten since the last time we saw him? Let me know what y'all guys think in the comments below. And guys, please like, comment, and subscribe. I really just want our channel to grow just to be the best it can be. So before I sign off, I do have one quick little announcement. And don't worry guys, my schedule is not going to change. I'm not going to make a different announcement about that. It's still going to be one video every 2 weeks with an update every week to let you guys know what I'm doing. But I currently only have one what if scenario on my channel, which is just what if Ash could start over. And I love this series so much. But I want to have more than just that. I want to be able to spread my horizons a little bit. So I want you guys to tell me your honest thoughts. I'm going to do one of 2 what if scenarios in the next couple of weeks. And again, I want y'all's opinion. Please tell me what you guys think. I want to do either a Naruto what if or an Avatar The Last Airbender what if. I read a few things behind the scenes already taken care of for both stories. I just want to know which one should I publish first. And then of course I'll release a few episodes of that one, again along with the what if Ash could start over. Then I'll release the 3rd one. I want to see if I can have like all 3 stories running at the same time. And again, as I wrap up one story, I'll of course, bring out another one, and I'll do what I can to continue to grow this channel as best I can. Not just for Pokemon, but for everything I can think of. Pokemon, Naruto, not just animes, like anime, cartoons, movies, video games, other franchises, just whatever I can do. I just want us to grow more. That's honestly all I want. But I'm going to leave it up to you guys on what you guys think I should do next. Again, either Avatar The Last Airbender or Naruto. One of the 2. Let me know what you guys think, guys. So, with that being said, guys, this is Broken Soul saying, may y'all souls be ever bright. I love you guys. Bye.